What if I told you that the secret to becoming fluent in English isn't about natural talent or, I don't know, studying for hours and hours? It's actually something way smaller, something you can start doing, like right now. We're going to dive into how these tiny, daily actions can lead to absolutely massive results. Let's get into it.
Okay, so what's with this number? 3,650. It might look a little random, but here's what it is. It's the total number of minutes you would spend practicing English in 1 year, if you just did 10 minutes a day. That's over 60 hours of practice, all built from these tiny, easy-to-handle chunks of time. It's just a really powerful way to see how small, consistent efforts add up to something huge.
So let's talk about habits. What are they, really? Well, they're just the things we do on autopilot, right? Like brushing our teeth or grabbing our phone the second we wake up. They're these small actions that, because we do them over and over, just become second nature. But here's the cool part. We can actually harness that power. We can design new habits on purpose that will slowly but surely transform our English skills.
This quote just hits the nail on the head. Becoming fluent in English isn't some kind of sprint. It's not about one heroic all-night study session. Nope, it's all about the quiet commitment to just show up every single day, even if it's just for 5 minutes. That steady, patient progress is what really builds momentum that lasts.
Okay, so the idea of building habits sounds great, but how do we actually do it, right? How do you go from wanting to practice English to making it something you just do automatically, every day? Well, luckily for us, there's a simple, proven framework that breaks it all down. So it turns out that every habit we have, whether it's good or bad, follows this really simple 3-step loop. First, you've got the cue. That's the trigger. Let's say it's that 3 p.m. feeling where your energy just tanks. Then comes the routine, which is the action itself. Reaching for a cookie. And finally, you get the reward, that little hit of satisfaction, that quick burst of sugar-fueled energy. Cue, routine, reward. That little loop is the engine behind all of our habits.
And here is the secret sauce for changing a bad habit. Don't try to fight it head on. That's just exhausting, and it rarely works. Instead, you just replace it. You keep the same cue and the same reward, but you swap out the routine in the middle. So when that afternoon slump hits, that's the cue. Instead of grabbing a cookie, you take a quick walk around the block. You still get the reward, a nice, refreshing burst of energy, but you've just swapped a bad routine for a good one. It's brilliant.
Oh, this is a total game changer. When you're starting a new habit, you have to make it ridiculously easy. I mean, so easy that it feels silly to say no. So instead of this big, scary goal of reading for an hour, just tell yourself, I'll read 1 page. See, the goal isn't to make some huge progress on day 1. The goal is to build the habit of starting. Once you've got that down, you can slowly start doing more. Start small, and you'll end up winning big.
All right, so we've got the framework for how to build habits. Now for the fun part. Let's apply this directly to our goal, becoming fluent in English. What are the practical, everyday things we can start doing to see some real progress?
These are pretty much the 6 core habits for building fluency. Listening every day trains your ear to the natural sound and rhythm of English. Speaking, even if it's just to yourself in the mirror, builds your confidence. Reading, well, that's how you get tons of new vocabulary. Writing forces you to actually use it. Reviewing is what makes things stick in your brain. And surrounding yourself with English, that just makes it all feel normal and natural.
And here's the absolute best part. You don't have to find a bunch of extra time to do all this stuff. You just need to weave English into the life you're already living. Listen to an English podcast while you're making dinner. Change your phone's language setting to English. Watch your favorite show, but this time with English subtitles. You're basically turning your normal life into your own personal English language lab.
Starting a new habit is always exciting, right? But what happens a week or 2 later when that initial burst of motivation just fizzles out? We have all been there. So now let's talk about maybe the most important part of all. How do you make these habits actually stick for the long run?
This is such a critical idea to get. Think of motivation like a firework. It's awesome, it gets you started with a bang, but it's super unpredictable and it burns out fast. Discipline, on the other hand, is like the sun. It's the system you build that just shows up day in and day out, especially on those days when you really don't feel like it. Discipline is what turns a fun idea into a real, lifelong skill.
So, one of the best ways to build that discipline is to remove friction. All that means is making your good habits as easy as possible to start. If you want to read more in English, leave the book right on your pillow so you can't miss it. Want to listen to a podcast on your commute? Download it the night before. By setting things up in advance, you make the right choice the easiest choice. You're basically helping out your future self.
You really need to hear this one. You are going to miss a day. It's going to happen. Life gets in the way. The trick is not let one missed day snowball into two and then into you quitting altogether. The goal is progress, not perfection. If you fall off the wagon, just hop back on the next day. No guilt trips, no drama, just start again.
This chart really says it all, doesn't it? You might think that one big 1-hour study session a week is the way to go, but look at the numbers. 10 minutes every single day adds up to 70 minutes a week. That's already more time, but more importantly, doing something every day is so much better for your brain's ability to actually learn and remember things. Over the long haul, consistency will beat cramming every single time.
Okay, so we've talked about why habits are so important, and the nuts and bolts of how to build them. Now it's time for the final, most crucial part. Actually taking action. It's time to shift from just learning about this to actually doing it.
You know, we have this idea that we need to feel motivated before we can start something, but it turns out we've got it completely backward. Action creates motivation. The simple act of just getting started, especially when you don't feel like it, is what builds the momentum that keeps you going. The hardest part is always just taking that first tiny step.
So if there's only one thing you take away from all of this today, please let it be this. Do not underestimate the power of small, daily actions. They really are the foundation of any huge achievement. What you do consistently every single day matters so much more than what you do once in a while.
So I'm going to leave you with a little challenge. Not for tomorrow, not for next week, but for right now. What is one tiny, super easy habit you can start today to get yourself one step closer to English fluency? Pick one thing, commit to it, and just take that first step.